A year full of milestones, and Mukesh Ambani speaks only once in a year. So this is a widely anticipated and watched event, and there is so much to look out for in the 45th AGM. This year, investors will seek insight around the big green energy, clean transformation, the Jio 5G rollout, how Ambani perhaps looks to unlock value in Jio as well as retail through separate listings, and when and how his children will take over reigning. Joining in to discuss as we await the speech at 2 p.m, we've got Gagan Sidhu, the Director at Council on Energy, Environment and Water. We also have Prakash Diwan and Sudip Bandopadhyay of Inditrade Capital joining us on the show now. Gentlemen, afternoon, and thanks so much for joining in. Prakash, first big question to you. Reliance Industries has been an outperformer in the last 1 year. In the last 1 year, Reliance stock is up 17%, while the Nifty is up only 4%. But it's still about 8-9% away from its all-time high levels of 2,850. Do you think what can be the announcements that he could make at the AGM which could push the stock towards its all-time high levels?
Yeah, so, Rima, it's very simple. What has got the stock excited? It is a lot of the new things that we heard in the last AGM, and ever since we got wisened up to the fact that Reliance is looking at new energy as the next big allocation of capital, and energy is a focus. The stock started its re-rating journey, because by that time you had Jio and the retail businesses already kind of with enough visibility, and people had started kind of anticipating what could come through. But I think, timelines of course, the IPOs, potential IPOs or some sort of listing for these businesses is one thing, but that may not happen in the AGM necessarily. But I think the green energy, the new energy business vertical is something which is very promising. And that is what the market's eyes would be on, because finally that's going to set the company apart from just being an oil and gas major to something which is more future-looking, more forward-looking. So I would believe that's going to be the biggest trigger for the stock to re-rate, and there's enough room for that, because everything else seems to be clearly priced in. But if anything new comes up beyond this, starts helping all of us put some estimates in the next 3-4 years on EPS accretion, things could change dramatically on the stock. Okay,
we won't have to wait too long, though. In about 7-8 minutes from now, Mukesh Ambani will begin speaking. So we'll track that for you minute by minute. We also have Gagan Sidhu, who is the Director at Council on Energy, Environment and Water, who joins in. Gagan, thanks a lot for being with us on the channel. The big focus really is on clean energy, right? I mean, there's already been an investment of over, 5,500 crores to build capabilities, complete acquisitions, etc. But they're on track to meet this net carbon zero target by 2035, it seems. What can they announce in this AGM as far as timelines or projects are concerned with respect to the new energy vertical?
Sure. Thanks for that. Before I get into the new energy vertical, I just want to remind everybody that we're talking about India's most valuable company. And when I say most valuable, I mean, more valuable by far, by a very wide margin. At $220 billion, Reliance market cap is more than 1.5x that of TCS, which comes in second at about 140 billion market cap. However, there is a flip side to the story as well, which is that it shouldn't be a total surprise that Reliance market cap is where it is. And that's because the value of all of its various businesses actually feeds into that single listed entity. When you look in contrast to, let's say, an Adani, Adani doesn't even feature in the top 10 by market cap, but that's because the demerged businesses, they actually demerged their businesses several years ago. When I say demerged, they actually demerged with some pretty spectacular results for shareholders. So if you add up the market cap of the 7 listed Adani companies, you get to over 240 billion. That's a combined market cap which exceeds Reliance, well exceeds actually. And importantly, 20% of that market cap is attributable to just one company, and that single company is Adani Green Energy, which, by the way, was at a very nascent stage when it was demerged. So unlocking value for the group, I think, through separate listings is something that surely would have been considered, surely would have come up for internal deliberation. On whether exactly, there's a decision to be announced on that front, let's see. We'll find out in a few minutes. And on that separate listing front, I think the new energy business, of course, is very important. As you sort of correctly mentioned, it's been getting increasing attention. There's been several moves on that front. There have been announcements of new investments as well as acquisitions. So I'll be watching that space very carefully to unpack what it is that's announced, which takes forward at a granular level the previous announcements, as well as the several acquisitions and joint ventures of last year.
Ambani and Adani have both emerged as very large conglomerates. Ambani was, of course, always there, but they followed a very different playbook. While, for the Ambani Group, it's always been a very centralized approach, right? One listed company. But the Adani Group focused on value unlocking, listing all their entities. And that's helped them also, catapult in terms of the market cap, the point that, they were just making. But let's see whether we hear more on the point about spin-off. Sudip, what about on 5G? Now, the street is awaiting the rollout plans from Reliance Jio very eagerly. The expectation is that in the large metros, the Jio rollout will happen very soon. It's a matter of months or weeks, perhaps. But what about Pan-India? What do you think they could talk about when it comes to 5G Pan-India rollout? And do you think we'll hear anything on, perhaps tariffs, a phone?
Absolutely right. In fact, this is one area which I'll be carefully listening to in Mr. Ambani's speech. They spent, quite a lot of money acquiring the 5G spectrum. And of course, we'd like to hear when the Pan-India rollout is going to happen. Also, what is most important, in this particular matter is that globally, I think 5G hasn't been commercially yet very successful. Even in China, when it was rolled out quite some time back, they haven't yet yielded, good return on the investments. So we will like to understand what is the use case for 5G and how this is going to be rolled out by Reliance in the near future. And that will be one area which, as a shareholder, definitely I would like to know. The other couple of areas which I think, apart from what Prakash spoke, and I'd like to mention that one is O2C. I mean, there was a lot of this discussion of the Saudi Aramco, and things didn't go probably the way it was envisaged. Now, what is the final game plan for O2C? Is it going to be a separate company? Is it going to be remaining a part of this Reliance overall consolidated balance sheet? That's one part I would like to hear and understand. The last part, I think, a little while before Shirin was talking about this media business. I think that's getting really hot. There are a lot of things happening in the, in the environment as far as media is concerned. And Reliance has a powerful asset with the acquisition of IPL and other football league rights. I think this is going to be a big business going forward. And how that is going to be structured, is there going to be something more there? Is there going to be a consolidation that piece? I think that's one area. Of course, the green energy continues to remain important, and we'd like to hear that. Of course, whether value unlocking is going to happen by way of independent listing of Jio or retail or even green energy, that all will be opening, keeping our eyes and ears open for.
Okay, well, I know the focus is going to be on green energy, but let's not leave out the retail business, right? I mean, in a challenging year, the retail business grew 30% in FY22. So that's another focus area, according to me. Remember, Reliance Retail is already the second fastest growing retailer in the world. And it has huge plans. It added, almost 2 lakh jobs in the year gone by. So yes, lots to expect from this AGM. And in, I think, just about less than 30 seconds, we'll have Mukesh Ambani speaking. The focus will definitely be on the new energy business, but we're also looking out for any kind of details on the succession plan, as well as what's happening with the Jio business. Remember,